Just get through the day. This is Every Widow Thing.
Hey everyone, I'm Whitney from Every Widow Thing, and we are back with another episode. We have so many great ideas to share with you, but I think we're going to start with something lighthearted. The shows that we're watching right now. Kira, you thought this would be a good topic because...
Well, I think because it's February and it's kind of a time of year when everyone's hunkered down. Depending on where you live, weather's not great. A lot of new shows to watch. I feel like when I run into my friends, whether we're walking or working out or whatever, it's always like, what are you watching? What are you watching?
Well, and you said something about, and I'm guilty of this. You watch shows that then work you up and get your cortisol levels all jacked.
Something that I was noticing too, I think at this age, like Brendan likes to watch really action-packed. One example is we've been watching Landman and we were watching American Primeval. And both of these shows have a lot of drama and violence. And they kind of tend to stress me out. I feel like if I'm watching those late at night, it can affect my ability to fall asleep. So anyway, I like to watch more lighthearted things.
I need some new ideas because I just finished watching what I was watching.
Younger.
So it's fun.
It's a fun fantasy. Let's be honest. Well, I'll just speak for myself. I always imagined being younger and how much fun I would have knowing what I know now. And she's actually doing it. And she's getting to she's got these younger friends. She's dating younger men. She's getting a do-over. And of course, then it's in publishing, which is like super sexy. And
well, I'm going to add to the younger thing that I thought was really funny because one time I lied on the dating app so that you'd make the 55, like whatever, like 45 to 55, because it's done in decades, most people, right? So you wanted to, and Oliver was 9 years younger, so I was thinking, I want to be somewhere around my age, but not 20 years or whatever. But on younger, this is a woman who lied about her age, like in a significant way.
right.
And the people kind of forgave her. But yet on the dating apps, if you lie for like a year or two, they get really upset. Like, what else are you lying about? So that part of it,
Lie on the dating app.
you just put a different age. Like instead of saying,
You can only do it once.
Change your age.
no, you just started out.
You
that
start,
way.
yeah. I've started rewatching Schitt's Creek, which is hilarious.
Love that show.
Yeah.
Another one I really like, which has some dark humor, which I think goes along with Every Widow Thing a little bit, is Bad Sisters.
Oh, yeah. I'll watch that.
That is super fun. There's 2 seasons. There's some death.
Definitely some death. It's basically, tell the synopsis to everybody.
Well, it's in Ireland, which is kind of different and cool. And Holly's been to the bar that they plot the murder in or whatever they're doing. I don't want to give too much away because we want you guys to.
But one sister's married to a jerk.
Yeah, the show is really cute.
And they, hilarity ensues.
I thought it was fun.
That's the kind of show I'm kind of drawn to. There's some humor. There's some darkness.
I'm now worried about myself. You guys are watching the fluff every Friday or Saturday night if I'm home, one or the other. Well, one night I'll watch Dateline. It's murders and it puts me to sleep. The anchor, as soon as he starts talking, I can feel myself getting really sleepy. So
I do think a lot of people find them kind of soothing.
it's weirdly soothing and maybe it's because if your life is like horrible, it kind of makes you feel a little bit better about yours.
Maybe.
So I think that's what I'm watching in the evenings is that kind of stuff. I'm not watching the fluffy, the youngers or not much.
Yeah.
I sort of like that shows sort of along those lines that make you go, wow. Like I've been watching Scamanda.
That's not a feel-good show, though.
It's not a feel-good.
Speaking of feel-good, we all sat down last night here in Round Top in our PJs, and we put on the new Bridget Jones movie about the boy.
Mad about the boy.
Mad about the boy. First of all, if you haven't watched the Bridget Jones movies, they are hilarious. I read the books and I was crying. I was laughing so hard. I thought that this one would be the same, but I look around the room and we're all crying instead of
I had no idea what it was about.
Yeah, it turned out really sweet in the end. I mean, of course, a lot of it, you had to kind of suspend belief. I'm trying to find the name of the really cute actor.
Oh, he was in One Day
Yeah.
I find it very interesting, and I don't know if it's because I don't think it's because I'm a widow. There is a grief and tied to so many of the shows that I'm watching and the movies. Like one day I didn't realize what it was about, and then I'm not going to spoil it, but there is grief and loss in that
Think
movie.
about what's going on in the world, and the writers are not immune to being a part of the world, and they come up with these ideas based on real life.
I thought One Day was
Yes.
amazing.
It was so good.
There's some heartbreak there. It's a romance and it's really well done. And the actor is Leo Woodall. He's phenomenal. He's in the second season of White Lotus. He is in this Bridget Jones new movie as the younger love interest. And, we were all watching that last night, and I would say it starts out really kind of lighthearted, like a lot of the Bridget Jones, and she is kind of struggling as a widow, and all of us with young kids, and all of us can relate. And so we were kind of like, oh, yeah, we recognize that. But then she just sort of miraculously lands this hot younger guy, which might not be the most realistic storyline for some of us. I hope you guys can find your Leo out there. But then it has an interesting arc, and I think it's worth a watch. I mean, there are definitely some.
Grab your Kleenex for sure, because there's going to be. But I thought overall, and somebody, it might have been you, Lacey, said last night, I'm glad that they started 4 years in.
Because it felt like that was more realistic. I don't think anybody comes right out of the gate feeling really well.
Right.
It takes a long time. And people may have dalliances early on, because Whitney, you said you did.
Everybody's calling me out all the time.
Well, there was one of our listeners that said she did.
No, I know.
Hey, they're gone. You can do whatever you want to do. I don't think
Right.
there's anything, it's not a judgment. It's more like, I just so grossed out about the fact of how to have to get dressed up and go out and meet somebody. Just the thought of it was overwhelming.
Well, and they do a whole scene in Bridget Jones of her getting ready for the date that a lot of people can probably relate to.
Yeah.
Like you haven't.
Well, Holly just talked about hers. Spent more time getting ready than actually, because you worry about everything.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a fun, lighthearted, and
There's definitely,
crying at the end.
yeah, there's some relatable scenes. Have y'all, I think all of you guys have watched Shrinking with Harrison Ford.
I did.
I loved it. And it's again about grieving. Have you watched it, Kira?
It's a little bit of it, but it didn't stick.
It didn't resonate.
Same. Yeah, I watched it a while ago. I couldn't stick with it either. Maybe I need to revisit.
I love the characters. I mean, the next door neighbors crack me up.
I love the female next door neighbor. She's very funny.
Yeah. I loved that it shows a lot of different sides of grieving. It's showing how the daughter is grieving, is showing how the father, who is a therapist, is grieving, and how that plays into his work. The relationships and dynamics between the friendships once the wife has died was interesting to me. And then in the last season, so I'm not really spoiling anything by telling you that the wife was killed in a car accident. And
that's just revealed early.
yeah. And the husband is just a mess and just
How
like,
many seasons are there?
I think there's 3 now. But the 3rd season, they actually do a storyline where the driver that killed he was driving the car that killed the wife comes into the storyline, and how the daughter and everybody reacts to him, responds to him, and what happens. And it was just very, I don't know, it's funny, it's dark. And
Harrison Ford's really amazing because you've never seen him like this before. But you know what I thought is interesting, and this is jumping it way ahead, but we're going to have a guest on our show in the near future, Cheryl Martin, who is a therapist. She's retired. She was actually my therapist the first year, but kind of a similar thing. Her husband died in 2023. So much like her, she's now, not only was she a therapist for grief and loss, she's now experienced a great loss.
yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to get her insight as a therapist before she suffered that kind of loss and after.
And that's my excited Shrinking.
I mean, there seems to be a lot of,
Sex in the City.
one of the characters is widowed in that.
What's the reprisal of Sex in the City? What's it called?
Oh, and just like that.
Yeah, I didn't particularly like the way they handled widowhood in that one. It didn't seem real at all.
Wasn't that in the pandemic? And I had just gotten the Peloton, and then I guess Mr. Big like has a hard time.
Yeah, he did.
Was like, you've got to watch it. I'm like, I don't think I do.
It felt like she moved through the grieving process so quickly to the point that I was just like, really? Like, that's weird. I don't know. Maybe it's hard to do in a TV show series that doesn't have that many episodes.
Which is why the Bridget Jones, that was smart that they had it 4 years out. You can't really capture, as we all know, how long the process could be, right? How much time it takes to.
That's a good point. That's probably a really good point because hers was right after his death.
Another movie that I just watched a couple of weeks ago, it's with Reese Witherspoon and Will Ferrell, Cordially Invited. Have y'all heard about it? There's a dead wife in that movie, and the daughter is getting married, and I really liked, again, I'm drawn to the death part of the story, and there were funny parts and stuff, and there were some silly parts.
Will is bending over backwards, right?
Oh,
To make up to his daughter.
yes, but it also, the daughter was his whole life. So when she comes home with the boy and is engaged, he does not like it. His first reaction is not one of, oh, congratulations, which I really think is probably more true than people realize. A lot of
A
times.
little bit of like dedicating your life, and maybe this happens more with fathers and daughters, like, oh, you lose your spouse and then you kind of dedicate your life to the children, and this is now sort of your wife figure. But these themes seem to be coming into a lot of the current, like Lacey was saying, the writers are picking up on, reality, I guess.
Can we talk about Landman? Because now this is definitely a cortisol raising show.
Guess what? Spoiler alert, there's a widow.
Right. But
I guess I need to get Peacock and watch it.
so for those of you who don't know what Landman is, it's got Billy Bob Thornton. It takes place in Midland, and it's all around the oil fields Midland, Texas.
Far from where we are right now.
Yeah, my mom grew up there.
That's it. Midland is in West Texas.
What'd you say?
Hours.
It's in the same,
It's in the same
state of
It
this
is
large.
not close
Guess
to
what
Round
else is
Top.
close?
Okay.
Australia.
Okay.
Still forget.
Okay. Kira and Whitney do not know.
They're not teaching
how to read
geography
a map.
here today.
East Coast, West Coast.
Exactly.
But it's in West Texas, which I've been.
Yeah, and when I got locked into it, I was in Connecticut visiting a friend, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, have you seen Landman? It's so funny." So I sit down and I watch the first episode with her, and it is horrifying. It is violent and graphic, and hammers to the head. Like, it is
Why
terrifying.
did you say it's funny?
Billy Bob Thornton's relationship with his daughter and his ex-wife
Yes.
is hysterical.
That's what she ended up saying. I look at her and I'm like, what in the world do you find hilarious about this? And she's like, oh, well, it gets better. It gets better.
It really was good.
What I love about it is the widow storyline and the way that they are handling it and really teaching somebody how to handle dating a widow, I think.
How many episodes? Is it just one season?
2 seasons.
I heard Billy Bob Thornton did an interview where he said there might be another one. But you know why I liked the ex-wife and the daughter? At first, I found them annoying and not at all believable since everything else was really like a certain tone.
Right.
When they took on the old folks home.
Oh, yeah.
And I think because my mom was in a memory care for a year, and I just kept in my mind
Imagining her.
if that had happened at my mom's place, that would have been so hysterical.
Well, so not to give it too much away, but if you were a fan of Yellowstone,
Oh, yeah.
which is Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah, Taylor Sheridan.
There are a lot of similarities. I mean, that his style is comes through in Landman, but they do hit on a lot of really important themes, I think. Family, dysfunctional family.
It was kind of Friday Night Lights-ish too. It had a lot of the music and the way that a lot of the shots that they did.
As they dress, like the Texas background was kind of like, oh, okay, they're hot. Honey Brenda kept saying they're romanticizing West Texas. Like, how?
But Midland is there's a lot of money there. So it's its own little plan.
I mean, there's just nothing out there. Oh, and very current also, there's a whole drug smuggling, Mexican cartel border storyline,
Yeah.
which is very current also. So if you're into like that kind of stuff, I mean, that's part of it makes it a little scary for me and raises my cortisol. But that's another theme running through this. And there is a widow storyline.
For a long time, I was trying to find things that I could watch with the kids because I was trying to connect with them. We just landed on Shark Tank, and that's what we ended up watching. And they used to watch it with Hunter, so it just kept, it just was something that everyone would watch. But I feel like most of the things that I want to watch, my boys wouldn't be interested in. But Landman would be something that would hold a teenage boy's attention. My daughter, maybe not so much, but, so
My Brandon likes it so much.
yeah, I mean, it's got a little of everything, It's got some humor, it's got some sex stuff, it's got some vibe.
I'm going to start it this week.
All right, Holly.
I'll let you know what I think.
Okay, good. Is there anything else that you've watched?
I recently finished, and I know it started a while ago, Virgin River.
Did you like it?
I did. Jack Sheridan. Don't we all want a Jack Sheridan?
I mean, I liked the first. That was one of those shows for me where the first season was good, and then it just started getting cheesy.
It gets slow, but then
and then these
it is
twins. I mean,
cheesy.
they jumped the shark.
Yes.
I watched one episode and I was
Every
out.
show jumps the shark at some point.
But it gets better at the end. And
Okay.
How many seasons?
the girls I work with, we were all watching it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back and finish it because I was like, I don't know, but I went back and finished, and
And you were
and
pleasantly
she's
surprised.
a widow, the main character.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
Don't make fun of me. This is what I think is funny. So my mom watched this show, but I've never talked to my mom about it again, and like recently.
Hmm?
But the last season, there is a lot of sex.
Your mom's loving it.
Well, I was like talking to my sister. I'm like, do you think mom's unfinished?
Oh, she finished it.
To ask her what her thoughts, because I can't see her watching that.
Okay, this is totally off topic. Did y'all hear about this Home Depot trend on TikTok?
No.
Okay. So the Home Depot trend, women are going to Home Depot to find men because they're tired of the dating apps. So this one woman on TikTok decides that she's going to try the trend and she's going to record it. She's going to video
What's
herself
her
doing it.
age around?
She's in her 30s or something. I don't know. She has 2 children.
Recording, or she has somebody
No,
recording.
she's recording herself at Home Depot and being like, hey, I'm at Home Depot. Okay, I'm going to try this. And then she's kind of like going down the aisles like secretly with her phone and she sees somebody. And so then she puts her phone down, but you hear her go up and be like, hey, so I needed to hang a picture. Can you help me? So he goes over and at the end of the conversation, he asks for her phone number and they're still dating. And they're like, they were on the Today Show and it was, and she's from Dallas. Let's go to Home Depot. But it was funny because some of the people in the comments, they were laughing because she's videoing what he's picking out for her. And people are like, no, dude, that will not hang a picture the size that like he had no idea what he was doing.
Well, it's a target-rich environment, so she's smart.
Yeah. Then people in the comments were saying things like, always go to the plumbing aisle because they make the most money.
One of my friends says you should go to because I love soup, especially when it's cold. She was like, why aren't you at Central Market at the soup? So I was like, yeah, right. Like anybody's talking to anybody at the soup because they do it to her.
The soup.
And so, but she was not wrong. I went to the soup and some guy goes, well, which one of those are you like? And I was like, I didn't think he was that cute, but she was not wrong. So it was kind of fun.
And then you can be like,
You need like a soup romance.
I love that you call it the soups.
The soup. What did you recommend? Like a minestrone?
Well, I like mushroom soup. And
No, you don't want to lead with fungus. I'm sorry.
maybe that's what happened.
All right. You needed to be, in that moment, you're like, you know what?
hearty, girl.
I like a little
Tortilla
spice.
soup.
Tortilla. Yeah, we got to help you with your answers, with your soup flirting.
Same interest as you then.
That's true. That's true. Just be at the soups and wait for someone to dive into the mushrooms.
It's snowing out. I know there's storms everywhere. I mean, hear from anybody in a cold climate. He's looking for men in the soups.